Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. r/AskReddit by Planet Reddit. What do people complain about that literally never happens? I have held doors open for probably hundreds of women in the course of my lifetime, and not once was I ever berated or even given the evil eye for this sexist behavior. That we eat 7 spiders a year while sleeping, Australia would be dead by now. Razor blades in candy during Halloween. I'm pretty sure that it's only happened once, and it was some guy who did it to his own kid for insurance purposes. I think he poisoned the candy. He didn't use razor blades. Living in Colorado where people, news agencies, and clueless law enforcement constantly fearmonger over marijuana-laced candies being given out to trick-or-treaters the entire month of October. No one ever has ever done that ever. Not only are edibles kinda pricey and come in limited, small servings per container, 10 mg servings, and there's normally 4 or 5 per container, but no one in the history of edibles has bought 500 of them, spent $1,000 plus, and thought let's go drug some duckin' kids. Edit. If you know of anyone handing out drugs and or drug-laced candies this Halloween or ever, please let me know and get me an address, thanks. Edit 2. My first gold. Thank you, stranger. D. I have a friend that always goes bananas about these things. This year I actually stopped her from talking about it and explained that no one is giving away free drugs. Drugs are expensive. Why would they do that? Especially randomly, where there's not guarantee of a return customer. She was like, whoa. At least the person you were talking to accepted that. I usually get a response of there's some sick people in this world. They do it for fun. Okay, sure, whatever. For Christmas the family used to get together at grandma's house. She was a very nervous and paranoid woman. My cousin and I got some cash one year, and we wanted to go to the mall to find a toy to buy. She warned us that she heard that some sick man with scissors had been lurking in a mall bathroom. Cut some random kid's penis off. We were just kids. I was terrified of public bathrooms for years after that. What the hell, Grandma? Gangs murdering people who flash their headlights as part of a gang initiation. A quick high beam flash in my area means 2 things. Cop taking radar, or deer in the road. Either way, slow down. Edit. I missed a couple. Same thing where I'm from. It also means turn your brights off, you dong. But then they flash their brights and you realize that headlights are super ducking bright for normal headlights. I really freaking hate those kinds of lights. Message allergies equals people with a stomachache because they overrated the Chinese buffet. But it is hard not to do that. Yup, I made a pot of chili to sell on chili dogs for a charity many years ago, and because message can make a good chili into a great chili, I added a good sprinkle. A well-meaning idiot said, but what about people with message allergies? To which I responded, given that message is naturally occurring in tomatoes, anybody allergic to message shouldn't be eating chili anyway. My mom still insists that killer bees are a major concern. Edit. Some of these responses showed me killer bees are still a big concern in certain areas around the world. My mother lives in Central Florida, so hopefully she has no need to truly worry. Protect your neck. Okay, so I watched a documentary on killer bees years ago when I was about 7 and it ducked me up big time. Had night terrors about being chased by killer bees that resulted in my sleepwalking. Sleep running through the house and running into furniture. Had these night terrors off and on for a few years until the internet became widespread and I could do my own independent research and figure out that Discovery Channel documentary I watched when I was 7 was less than credible. Jesus. This was my experience too. I was allowed to watch way too much of that kind of TV, like sightings. Anyone remember ducking sightings? I'd always close my eyes when the alien face appeared. I was terrified of alien abductions, cow mutilations, the world ending, super volcanoes, everything under the sun. I don't really understand why my dad thought it was okay for me to watch this stuff and never tell me. Well, champ, most likely this is bullshit. Since I took all of this as truth. Adults never lie. Oh, what a naive kid I was. I had nightmares constantly. I was always afraid I was going to die. Always afraid I was going to get kidnapped by strangers and pulled into a windowless white van too. And it didn't really stop until I was a teenager. Now I'm an atheist and I don't believe in anything. Take that, scary ass TV shows. Texas agriculturist here. African killer bees are a major concern in the south. Their hives are in the ground, and they look almost identical to your average honeybee. In some cases lawnmowers can't run them over, or vehicles. Next thing you know you're in the hospital seizing in anaphylactic shock. Seen it firsthand many a time. Drugs on Halloween candy. Yep, no one who has drugs is gonna be giving them out for free as Halloween candy. That shit's expensive. I knew some rich guy who would give out nugs to some of the older kids on Halloween. But that's a little different. Shit, I gotta start trick-or-treating again. Only documented case was a man that poisoned his and his neighbor's children for the life insurance. Slipping on a banana peel. Now I've actually done this, on purpose, mind you, but those bastards are slippery. Not as slippery as the ones that created the stereotype. That race is extinct. Not extinct. You can still find Gros Michel. They're just not common. There's still an active effort to breed disease-resistant Gros Michel, because they have superior benefits as a cultivar for transportation. If you want more banana facts, just ask. Subscribe. Dangerous trends that bored and paranoid stay-at-home moms spread around like syringes in ball pits. Maybe it's happened once, but that's not something worth spreading around the internet like as if some international supervillain syndicate is banding together to drop syringes into all of the ball pits around the country. Join our community Discord, link in description. People trying to always sell me drugs as a kid. Edit. Guys, what I meant was how everyone says watch out for the guy that goes, hey kid, want some drugs? That is rare occurrence which very few people witness. Don't you think? Of course people offer you stuff in high school, college, work. I mean, what are friends for? Semicolon. What I was told would happen. 5th grader. You should do heroin. Everyone's doing it. You're not cool if you don't do heroin. What actually happened? My college friend when I was a senior in high school. Hey, you want a drink? It's cool if you don't. You don't have to drink. Me. Ducking finally. I would love a drink. Most of the time when someone says I don't drink, the rest of us are just like, good on you, man. That's probably the right choice. Please drive me home later while I regret everything I've ever done. I quit smoking about a year and a half ago. Everyone tells me they are proud of me and to keep it up while they smoke in front of me, lol. I fully appreciate that not smoking, drinking, or doing any drugs would absolutely be better for my body. I'm glad for people who don't deal with shit like that, tbh. I used to work at a computer tech support firm. Held the job full-time for 3 years. Back-to-back calls. My confession. Our customers weren't nearly as technically illiterate, rude as me and my colleagues made them out to be. Actually, 99% of our customers were kind and just wanted help. I guess exaggerated stories of the call center just made for good smoke break conversation. It's like a rite of passage in the phone support world. We sometimes received a rude customer, but chances were that they had just been worn down from an earlier call with an inexperienced employee. Rarely did we get the entitled prick, and when we did, she was always pretty easily taken care of. I guess you remember the particularly bad ones. That's probably normal. Availability heuristic. I don't think mine came with an availability heuristic. Shall I install another toolbar and see if that fixes it? Then there's the time I had to send a technician 3 hours out of his way in a snowstorm in Canada, and when he arrived, the problem was that the machine was unplugged. I'm not making that up. People getting attacked by bears in Scranton, PA. Edit. Fact. Bears eat beets. Edit 2. Oh man. My top comment is in reference to something Dwight said. This is one of the proudest moments of my life. Also gold. Thank you, stranger. Bears not so much, but you do need to watch out for the Scranton Strangler. Bears. Beets. Battlestar Galactica. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Office workers exaggerating how many hours they work. Working a 55-hour week once or twice a year doesn't mean you do that every single week. I sit next to all of you every day and watch you put in 40-hour weeks just like me, but we still sit there interviewing job candidates and tell them about how we work hard here, usually 50-60 hours. Why are we lying to ourselves about this? It's not a thing to brag about. When I hear people are working that hard, I just feel bad for them. They are either getting paid too little, have a shitty home life, are understaffed, or are bad at their job. All of those are things that deserve pity, not praise. Edit. I get it. There are exceptions. I just answered Arp's question with the first thing that sprung to mind. My experience is entirely anecdotal and limited to one industry and like 5 companies. Academics do this a lot too. Tenured and tenure track professors estimate that they put in like 60-hour weeks regularly. But because they set their own research and writing schedules, it just feels like a lot more than an 8-5 job because you did 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon or worked in the evening instead of the morning one day, etc. I don't think a lot of people realize that a 60-hour work week over 5 days is working from 8 AM to 8 PM every single day, over and over again. I hear more people complain about other people saying New Year New Me than I've ever heard someone say New Year New Me. Gym bullies, or people being really judgmental in the gym. I have worked out consistently 4-5x a week in a gym for over 10 years now, and have literally never seen or encountered this. It's understandable if you are out of shape in one way or another and are self-conscious, but I think most people will agree that you are your own worst critic and it's really all in your head. To be honest, 99% of the time, people in there don't care about you. Especially the huge guys because they are too busy focusing on their own routine or checking themselves out in the mirror to look for gains or whatever. It's like people think the swellest guys in the gym are bad guys from a B movie in the 80s who are waiting to call everyone smaller than them a dweeb. If you take the time to ask the really in shape people for advice, tips on form and things like that, you will find they perk up and are very helpful and willing to even set out time from their routine to give you a mini personal training session. Just make sure you ask at the right time, not mid-set or when they are panting from exhaustion. Some of the friendliest people I have met in life were people you'd think were a-holes, just because they're in the zone and have an intense, focused look on their face, or are ripped. If someone is staring at you in the gym, it's probably either because you look good, are interested in an exercise you're doing, trying to make friends with people who share a common hobby, or maybe you're doing an exercise with poor form and they want to help but don't know how to approach without someone getting defensive. Planet Fitness is the biggest gym bully of them all. Speaking of public restrooms, I, a man, was at a place where the men's room had a trough or a urinal. The place was crowded. A man, who is only allowed in the men's room, comes in with his little girl, 5ish. I looked at her, then at all the penises she could clearly see. The man would have caught hell if he went into the women's room, so I think he did the right thing. But that poor little girl and all those penises. Edit. To clarify the trough and experience, the venue is a drive-in movie place built in the 60s. The trough is like a big clawfoot tub in the middle of the bathroom. Stalls at the end. You stand and pee in the tub, with your penis very exposed to whoever walks by, or is next to you, or across from you. Basically anyone in the bathroom. I have a friend with a little girl and he hates taking places for this reason, which sucks, honestly. Well, that and the fact that he's a big, muscular black guy and his little girl came out as white and fair as her mama. Luckily, she looks just like him, but they do turn heads. As a mom with 2 daughters who I know have been to the men's room many times, dad taking them out for errands, whatever, I think in some odd way it's a good thing. It takes away the stigma and shows it's just a body part. If we were all more open and honest about the human body and sexuality, when age appropriate, I think there may be a lot less teenage pregnancy, etc. Again, this is just my opinion. I agree, men peeing is not, and should not be, a traumatizing thing to see. Wait, WTF. Ninja Reddit. Never mind. I'm a moron. I misread not as hot. A cashier giving someone a weird look because of an item they bought or commenting on items they're buying together. Never worked as a cashier, but I'm pretty sure they don't care what you buy and hi, how are you? Find everything you were looking for is code for hurry and pay for your shit then get out. I've always believed this until a cashier had a 10-minute conversation with me about a certain item I was buying. I'd originally gone to self-checkout because I didn't want human interaction, but she insisted I come to her line and asked me all sorts of personal questions. IDK, maybe she was bored. It was 10 at night. I didn't want to be rude, so I gave some vague answers to her questions, but yeah, I don't expect it to happen again, but apparently it does. Cashier jobs are soul crushing. I'll talk to you about your Aureus just to fight the urge to not leave halfway through ringing your items up. Edit. 1k likes, wow. Thank you all so much. I was having a really rough day before this, but this has helped me stay positive. Especially when you're the only customer I've had in 2 hours and everything is cleaned, stocked, and fronted. I swear I'll really about anything just to have some form of mental stimulation. When I worked as a cashier, I had multiple people tell me to cheer up, or go and complain about me not being more chippy to my manager, and my manager would come over and beat me out for not being all tits out for 8 hours straight of the most monotonous, horseshit job I have ever had. Honestly, if you feel the need to tell your cashier to cheer up, you should go duck yourself. Just duck off. I'm sorry I didn't ask you how your day was so you could give me a fake smile and say good and then we could never talk again. Edit. This kind of blew up. But I should say that I was never openly rude to a customer. My demeanor just naturally isn't a happy-go-lucky one, and it's a lot of work to physically put on that air for 8 hours. Once it got towards the end of my shift, you could probably tell it was wearing on me, and that's when these people would start to come out. I was never ever openly rude to anyone though. If you made an actual effort to talk, I would be more than happy to talk to you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for 3 videos a day.